let's check in on Baylor's new defensive coordinator. Let's listen a little bit. Scotty, let's play this thing in stop-start where we can, you and I can jump in if we need to and respond to anything he says. I just wanted our people to hear a little bit from Baylor's new defensive coordinator.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here, and I know you guys don't want to listen to me ramble on. You probably want to get more pointed questions, but I see a heck of an opportunity here with Baylor football, and probably the thing that drew me to this opportunity more than anything was, obviously Coach Aranda has a reputation across this landscape of college football of just being a great football coach, but more than that, an incredible human being. And I've been fortunate to work with great people, and I know that that's what Baylor is all about. And I know that wherever there are great people, and if you can get those great people rowing in the same direction, great things can happen. And I've been fortunate enough to be a part of that. I've been a part of several championship teams and championship organizations, and it always starts with the top man. And I wouldn't have taken this opportunity if it weren't for him. The other thing that drew me to this in a big way was his synopsis of the team insofar as there are a lot of hungry players in the building. There are a lot of guys that want to be great. There are a lot of guys that want to do it for the team. There are a lot of guys that want to do it for the university and have a lot of pride in the university. And that's the best starting point. And I know that there's talent here from playing Baylor for years and years. I know that you can attract talent here. And I believe we can get this thing flipped really quickly. And I think that you grow the most through uncertainty. I think in uncertainty, that's where you find the most growth. That's where you find the most passion. And I think that the quality of your life is in direct proportion to how much uncertainty you can handle. And so I'm thrilled to get uncomfortable, so to speak. And this opportunity is, something that is humongous. I really feel like this is something that we can take great leaps quickly, and that's why I'm excited to get going.
All right. Scotty, I already like the way, like, you just tell total football guy, because like he just is like, give me whatever shirt. I don't care. I don't like it does not look like a shirt that, those coaches that would come in and have the quarter zip or whatever, or have the awesome looking, whatever the latest and greatest Baylor gear is. He literally was just like, hey, there's one of the SIDs, and it may not, I'm a big guy. He played at Minnesota State. It may not fit perfectly. Just grab me a shirt. I need to throw something on before I go out there. Like, he kind of gives like a football vibe guy. And I just, I've been watching his Kansas State stuff. And so I see encouraging things so far. Now, all those are the right things. I came here, wouldn't have done it if, Dave Aranda. Now, again, I think the second part of that is I think he would be honest with us. Is just like my coach just kind of suddenly retired, the guy I followed from North Dakota State, and I'm just left out here without a coaching job. And I don't know, who knows what Colin Klein would have done. I have reached out to people close to Colin Klein, and I will say that they were I don't know what he was going to do with his DC. I don't know if he's announced yet even who his OC and DC is going to be. OC doesn't matter quite as much because I imagine Colin Klein will want to go in there and call plays. We'll see what they do with his DC. I don't know what he would have done with Klanderman. I just think Klanderman's done a pretty good job at K-State. And there have probably been some uneven moments. He's had to change things up. But from a takeaway standpoint, they've been among the best in the country. And Baylor is desperate for that. Like, that's something that, for instance, Texas Tech is great at doing. Oh, by the way, Scotty, I thought you would like a joke. I don't know if McGuire took it the right way, or, I don't know. I don't know if he found it that funny. But I thought, given what Baylor had been through this season, at the end of the McGuire interview, Scotty, I asked him, I said, should your 12-1 record include an asterisk? since y'all didn't play Baylor this season. I thought it was kind of a fun joke. And I don't know, Joey was kind of like, no, I don't think so. But anyway, I all you can do is just put them out there, just see what America thinks. Okay, Scotty, let's continue. This is Joe Klanderman. Okay, the Clandy Man. The Clandy Man can cause the candy man. But let's I wonder if he'll like that if I kind of sing the Clandy Man. I'll probably ease into this relationship. Probably shouldn't get too jokey early on. But we got to separate ourselves, Scotty. We can't be out there just like, what are you going to do? You going to do the 4-3? You're going to do the 3-3-5? All right, let's continue with Joe Klanderman.
Joe, Bryce, Cherry, Waco Trib. So how did the connection with you and Baylor kind of come about?
Well, I know that the Big 12 is a different animal now, and it seems like some of these other leagues have agreements that we're not going to, do anything too crazy. You don't do anything too crazy, and the Big 12 is a wide open, offensive league, a lot of diversity in the different things that you see. I mean, and so I think to be a coordinator in this league, it's nice to have league familiarity, and so Coach Rand and I don't have a history per se like that. But I think he respected the fact that I've been in this league and I know what this league is about. And throughout, I don't know, braggadocious, whatever, but throughout my body of work, I've been able to have the best defenses in this league. And so I know how to succeed here. And I think that was the attraction for him. And as I mentioned, my attraction was to work for a great man.
Coach Zach Smith, Waco Trib. Coach Aranda has his own scheme, his own style, all of that. How much do you kind of fit with that, and how much change do you expect to make from a scheme perspective on the defensive side? Yeah,
I know that one of the things Coach expressed to me is, his desire to be a head coach. And I know that I don't know how he did it. That's an awful lot to handle a team and run a unit and do all those things, and so. I think he wants to, do the things that he's good at is managing people, and so there will be considerable changes to what we do and what we may look like. Obviously, his input is very valuable and welcome, but I think in order to get a fresh start, we probably need some change, and that's not. Lance at anything that they've done here previously, but I think these guys want to get a new beginning, and my interactions with them, they're excited about it, and I'm excited to bring it.
To that end, are you going to be calling plays? Is that part of this?
That's the plan. Yes.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Welcome, Coach. You're probably the biggest safeties coach I've ever seen in my life. Can you talk about just the transition from D-line to safeties and how that worked?
Yeah, I've got an interesting story. It would take more time than what we have today, but I've got a great story. I was a defensive lineman as a player, and then I began my coaching career as a defensive line coach. One day, the head coach came to me and said, "I would like you to coach DBs." And that would be like talking, the sun and the moon. That's how far away we were from that. But I think he saw the fact that I could teach, that I could relate. And one of the things that I think is cool about my DB experience, and really my experience in general, is I think coaching is, there's a lot of copycats. And that's cool. There's a lot of ideas that are out there. But they're just ideas unless you make them your own. And I think that's one thing about my coaching career that I'm proud of. I didn't go to some DB clinic and hear some fancy terms, and that's how I do it. Everything I'm doing and teaching, I've learned through trial and error. Some things work, some things don't work. Some things work for certain types of guys, some things don't work for certain types of guys. And so I didn't just take some ideas from some guy that I don't know that has a great name and use them as my own. I've molded them, I've changed them, and through 20 plus years or whatever of that, I've done that at the linebacker position. I've done that in the DB room. I've done it up front, and so I've coached at all three levels and been a coordinator since I guess 2012. Or no, wait a minute, 2007. I don't even remember my own dang bio, but I've done it in a lot of different places, a lot of different ways, and it works.
All right, Scotty.
Ogletree, KWTA.
Wow. Okay, lots there, lots to unpack. Thought he was nice about it and gracious about it, but pretty direct. This thing's got to change. I mean, obviously the rankings, they're really not, they don't have any identity other than they were okay at cornerback this season. They don't have a pass rush. They don't get takeaways. They don't sack the quarterback. They're not particularly good at covering running backs. They can't stop quarterbacks. This thing was awful. Dave knows that. Dave Aranda's had great defenses, and he was a greatly respected defensive man for whatever reason. And maybe it's some on, I don't think we dismiss the players. A lot of times what we do at Baylor, it seems like in recent years, is just go, it's the coaching, the players, the talent's great. It's like, okay, really? I mean, I didn't look out there and see like great talent at defensive tackle. Now, again, it's on the personnel people at Baylor and the coaches and everybody that missed on the talent. I don't know if they can truly make up for that in one portal class, but they're going to try. But I thought that was good that Klanderman was very direct with, it's going to take some change, and this thing's going to look different, and coach can go back to doing what he does. But I think basically in that moment, he was like, this is my unit. I'm going to take this thing over. And he didn't try to play it up like, oh my gosh, I've loved Dave Aranda from afar forever. He was just like, no, we're in the same conference. And I think there's a respect level for each other. And I think the part he didn't say is like, I need a job. I mean, coach is coach. He didn't want to like sit out for a year. So wait, what are you going to wait? See if Colin Klein wants to retain anybody. Colin Klein is letting coaches go left and right. You think Klanderman needs to be, well, I think I'll see if I can stay here at K-State. No, coach is coach. You got to go. You got to go. And maybe he had some other opportunities, and maybe Baylor had to pay him a lot to get him to come. I don't know. I don't know that Baylor didn't put out salaries. But, it was a good opportunity. And while, other people will point out that, oh my gosh, they got beat by Utah 51-48. Well, it happens. All right. They were fourth in the country in takeaways this year, 8th in turnover margin as a team. And that's a good place to start. Over the past 4 seasons, that their number of takeaways is up there with anybody. So that's one of the things that we'll get into with him tomorrow is the ball. What do you do? What do you try to do? How have you created all these takeaways? And where does that come? Is that from affecting the passer? Is that more from your coverage? What is that? Where does that come from? Is that teaching your guys how to punch it out? All the things that you ask. And we'll do all the scheme stuff and all that. We'll also have a little fun because in a one-on-one type situation, we can get to know him a little bit better and kind of maybe even flesh out that story a little bit more. That's kind of funny. Scotty, I like that Jerry brought that up. Big, tall, huge dude to be like a safeties coach. We think of safeties coach or DBs, somebody that's played DB or maybe kind of more like that. I think it's good that this guy has coached all the positions. He said it, linebacker, up front, on the back end of things. So I think that's good. I think that's a good thing that he's been in all the rooms and that he has then, of course, been a coordinator for a good long while. He had already become a coordinator even before North Dakota State. I think he'd become a coordinator way back when he was at Minnesota State. So Joe Klanderman, I'd have to look at it again to see age-wise where he is. I think he's probably graduated and finished playing in about 98, which makes him somewhere around like 49 or 50 or something like that. But hey, great. That's a perfect age for a defensive coordinator. Perfect age for a surgeon. I like my surgeons to be right around like 48, young enough still, but old enough that they've seen a lot of stuff. They've done a ton of surgeries, but they're young enough where they still all the new things they kind of understand. Okay. I want my surgeons to be kind of in that 46 to 52 range. All right. And I want my defensive coordinators to kind of be in that. Although I'm up for a young defensive coordinator if they were great or something. All right, Scotty, let's do a little bit more, and then we need to take a quick break, and then we'll do some Cowboys to finish today.
Coach, this may kind of be an open-ended question, but what types of players are you looking for, and have y'all already started digging maybe in the transfer portal or looking at tape for those types of players?
Yeah, we have. We're looking for guys that are hungry. We're looking for guys that are hungry to learn. We're looking for guys that are about the team. You know, obviously it has to fit in with Coach Aranda's. He's the boss, right? And he's the one. They have to fit in with his philosophy. But I think he and I are aligned that way, that you're going to win championships with guys that have championship mindsets. And I think it starts there. And I know that in my history, I can relate to, being at North Dakota State, and they're still winning championships there. They do it a certain way. And if it was a track meet or if it was a combine, we wouldn't have won any national championships. But we did it with kids that had attitudes that were selfless, guys that were about the team, guys that wanted to get better, guys that truly were the same every day. You didn't have to worry about the up and down. Those are the kind of guys that we're looking for, guys that want to do it and lay it down for Baylor. And it starts there, and then, of course, the talent needs to be there too. And so looking for guys that want and are excited about growth. And to your question of have we started looking, that was priority B. So, yeah, we're already on it. Priority A is handling the guys on the current roster and just getting to know those guys and see them and get a chance to meet them, put a name with a face, maybe put them at ease about the transition and what's happening here, talk about how we're going to move this thing forward. And then priority B is acquiring the guys that, are aspiring to be Bears.
Jack McKenzie, Siegmund 365. Where are you and Dave at in the process of filling the defensive line coach role, and what do you guys prioritize out of your defensive linemen?
Yeah, Coach and I have talked about a couple of guys. I think it's very close. Obviously, it's advantageous to get someone in that position before January 2nd. Probably a necessity to get that done, so we're working as quickly as we can to do that. I think out of the defensive line, the number one thing that comes to my mind is disruption. And they come in all shapes and sizes, but philosophically where I'm at is I want the D-line to be as disruptive as humanly possible. And so if we can get guys up there that are causing havoc and both in the run game and in the rush, that's the priority. I know that sounds too common sense maybe, but one of the things that I've been able to do over the years is help the team create turnovers. And when people think of that, they think of the DBs and, wow, they're ball hawks, and that's part of it. But most of those turnovers are created because you're disruptive up front and because you're doing it with the rush and you're doing it with the, getting hits on the quarterback, getting ball disruption on ball carriers, and that's, so those four positions are huge and important, and so that is the priority right now for Baylor in the portal on defense anyway.
All right, that's good. Thank you, Scotty. I wanted to get everybody just kind of a chance to see what he's about a little bit today. That was about 11 o'clock this morning. And I have been looking to see who on that staff that he could bring with him. Van Malone just got hired as a head coach at maybe Hampton. I think I saw Van Malone has been a defensive coordinator in college football and was on that staff working under Coach Klanderman, but he just got hired as a head coach. There was another coach named Buddy Wyatt who has coached, I believe, the defensive ends at Kansas State under Coach Klanderman. And I certainly think that's somebody he would like to bring with him. I mean, that's a guy that's, has been all over the Big 12, coached at A&M, has been around Von Miller and some of the all-time greats, Michael Bennett at A&M, some other places, honestly, in the conference as well. I think Colorado at one point. He's been around, and he would be someone I think Klanderman would be interested in bringing to Baylor. It really then becomes about, I think probably Dave Aranda's also thinking about somebody, okay, you got to think, okay, who's a great X's and O's type person, but also who can help us recruit.